He is shocking everyone as GM Chris Drury has some very difficult decisions coming up. One Rangers prospect is making his case to make the team full-time, and we have some other shocking comments from Coach Peter Laviolette. We're going to break all that down in this episode of Rangers Digest, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you watching our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to do yourself a favor, it's free. Hit that subscribe button, and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers, and it's getting very exciting. The regular season's almost here, and today we're going to focus on a couple players who are making their case to make the Rangers lineup full-time this season. And two of them specifically that I'll be touching on, I do think have a very good chance to be full-time Rangers this year. And some of these picks might surprise you and will surprise Rangers fans. So first of all, with the first player I want to talk about, it is Brennan Othmann, and we're going to get into his performance in the last couple preseason games. The one against the Boston Bruins just a couple nights ago, I thought he played really well. He was using his physicality to his advantage, and he wanted to make a statement. It was a statement game for him, at least physically. And then they had another game at home against the New York Islanders. It was a great finish to that game, but Brennan Othmann did not have the greatest game. Now, yesterday they played the Boston Bruins again, and Brennan Othmann was showing out. And I'll get to a few different players and specifics in a minute. It was a great game for the New York Rangers. Again, it's preseason, not putting too much stock into it, but great hustle play by Brennan Othmann, who wins the puck race and scores on a breakaway. He made it 3-1 with about 30 seconds left in only the first period. And to take a look at it, I mean, it's a great play. He recognizes that the defenseman Zadorov is flat-footed. He comes right in, and he knows exactly where he's putting it. It was a nice finish, and you know what? He's filled out during the offseason, right? He's gotten bigger. His speed is definitely still there, and the finish is there as well. He's always been a very gifted offensive player. So I've been very vocal on the channel about Brennan Othmann and the fact that I think he will make the Rangers full-time this year. I just think he's really good. He's a really good option for them on the left wing specifically. And again, he's showing everyone. Obviously, they're playing him in different positions in the preseason and trying different things with a bunch of different players. But I think he's showing everyone right now, especially with a goal like that, that he is ready for the NHL. And honestly, he wants it. Everything he said during the summer and leading up in training camp, he wants it really badly. And I think if you're a Rangers fan and obviously management, you want guys who want to be there and are trying really hard to get better. So guys like that, guys like Matt Rempe, we're going to see how everything shakes up because or shapes up, I should say, because, you know, things are coming to a crescendo pretty quickly here as next week rosters have to be pretty much finalized. They're going to start having to make some roster decisions here. So does it involve Brennan Othmann? We will have to see. And I thought this article was interesting as well. It's training camp. This is the opportunity players are looking for. And that, of course, was Peter Laviolette talking about the kids like Brennan Othmann, like Matt Rempe, and a couple other guys, even Capo Caco for that matter. But anyway, Othmann does see his game, right? Like he understands where he needs to improve, and he's trying to make those improvements. He said about the game just a few nights ago, I thought it was a bit sloppy. And that was following the Islanders game. You can't really have those types of games in training camp, in preseason. Hopefully I get a few more and prove that I can still be here, prove that I still want to play for Laviolette and be here full time. And I thought he did a pretty good job at that the other night. And like I mentioned, Laviolette went on to say, it's training camp. This is the opportunity players are looking for. There's been times where you're noticing some of these players, whether it's Berard, Othmann, Edstrom. I thought Edstrom looked great the other night as well, or Rempe. Rempe's had moments as well. Getting a little bit more playing time, but again, it's the preseason. It's that consistency part of it that's the key to taking the next step and being able to do it shift after shift and game after game consistently at the next level in the NHL, and that's exactly what he's looking for from these players. And we'll get into a quote here from Brennan Othmann about the game last night, and he said, I felt a lot better than last game. I'm just taking it day by day and kind of leaving the last games that I played in the past. Regardless if they're good or bad, I just wanted to go out there and try to contribute, and that's exactly what he did in a big way, right? Like he scored. That was a beautiful goal, honestly. It was, and it was a good read on the play to get around the defenseman, and obviously a great finish. So big fan of Brennan Othmann, and hopefully he continues to show out in the rest of the preseason. We'll just have to see what happens because he's fighting for a couple guys for spots in that bottom six. And honestly, everyone is making a pretty good case for it, even on the defensive side too, like Edstrom, like I mentioned. So it's going to be very interesting here. They have a lot of really good options, and it should be fun to end the preseason here. But something else I wanted to get into as well is Peter Laviolette talking about some, lineup changes. I want to talk about Riley Smith as well. And obviously one last player that I think is going to be a regular in the Rangers lineup that may shock Rangers fans that are watching this. It might not, right? Some people could see it coming. I'll get to that in a few minutes. Peter Laviolette liked the Will Cooley, Philip Hedl, and Capo Caco line. So far, he said that they're capable of generating and bring slightly different elements, that is for sure. I love Will Cooley's game. I thought he was pretty good physically in the playoffs last year. Obviously brings that speed. Philip Hedl has been great. Obviously, when he's healthy, he's a fantastic player. We're looking for him to take the next step this year as well, because we know he can be just that much better. And Capo Caco as well, out there to prove something. So a couple guys here that are really out there to prove their worth. So makes for a pretty hungry line, that's for sure. He also views it as as important to get Hedl in games early. He's played all 3 games this preseason. That is for sure. If he's feeling good, get him into games, because he needs to get back up to speed as soon as possible. Missed significant time last year with injury trouble. So on the Riley Smith front as well, he's playing with Zibanejad and Chris Kreider, of course, on the first line. We were kind of speculating that over the summer. This is exactly what's happening now. Chris is putting the puck in the back of the net, so that's always nice. I think we're trying to forecheck quickly. I think that's when we've played best so far. He added he thinks that they can still get better doing it continuously, and they're only going to get better as they play together heading into the regular season as well. So that's pretty encouraging stuff from Riley Smith. And you know what? He made a pretty big move to New York this offseason, and he went on to say, "It's funny, I felt like today I've done it 1,000 times in the city already, just doing it once before. This organization does a great job making everything pretty seamless. You're not worried about traffic and all the other things that can be headaches. So far, we won 2 games, so I'll keep the same routine. All the guys are great sounding boards because I've had about 1 million questions so far." So love that. Love that he's getting acclimated to not only the city, but of course the team, because, it's a big move to go from Pittsburgh to New York, of course. But it's going to be really fun to see what he can do on that first line with Zibanejad and Chris Kreider, because, again, there was lots of speculation. Will it work? So far, it's looking pretty good. They have to continue to forecheck ferociously, though. That is going to be key, and that's exactly what he brought up. So I love that from Riley Smith. Now, the last guy I'll touch on that I've been teasing is Zac Jones. I believe that this guy is going to make the team full-time. He's just way too good for Hartford at this point. I think he showed it last year, and obviously the Rangers lineup did not lend to him being able to be a full-time NHLer, but in this, pretty significant sample size we saw in about 30 games last year because of Jacob Trouba's injury, he played very well. And Zac Jones, on his relationship with Adam Fox, obviously you see him on the ice, he's a tremendous player, but he's a really good guy off the ice too. He's easy to talk to, a great person, and as a younger guy, I try to look up to people, and he's one of the guys I try to model my game after. And obviously, not a bad player to model your game after, really good player in Adam Fox, and he's the best of the best in my opinion. His brain, everything, unbelievable. And he also went on to say about his spot on the team, "I definitely don't feel like it's mine yet. I feel like I'm playing with more confidence, a little more swagger out there. I think I showed myself well last year, and I'm just trying to do the same thing in preseason." Honestly, if you ask me, he showed out pretty well so far in this preseason as well. Obviously, 2 goals the other night, and they were both things of beauty. They were fantastic goals, and even defensively, like, he just looks good. He looks like he belongs in the NHL to me. So let me know in the comments what you think about Zac Jones, if he belongs in the NHL. If Brennan Othmann's going to make the team, let me know who you think should make the team out of all the prospects and everyone who's fighting for spots. I do believe Othmann has earned a spot on this team so far, but there's a lot of runway left in the preseason. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. And you know what? Matt Rempe's in the mix as well. There's Edstrom, who I believe has played well. There's also Zac Jones, who I think has earned a spot full-time in the NHL. But let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.